I saved this tweet a short while ago from a Rob Moore. Now, if you haven't heard of Rob Moore, he's one of these YouTube entrepreneur types. He interviews all sorts of famous people from around the world. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because he's basically apolitical, yet he's recognising something in London that many people are recognising. He states, "London has been ruined. I was in Costa," that's a coffee shop for anyone outside of the UK, and a homeless person came in and literally scooped all the sandwiches and nicked them in front of everyone. I asked the server what they were going to do about it, and they said, "We're told to do nothing. If we all do nothing, we will lose our capital city." Unfortunately for Rob, it seems he's a bit further behind the curve than the rest of us. London went a long time ago. Now, Zone 1 can still look very impressive. We still have many of our great buildings there that are monuments to the British people and our history, but the longer you're in London, the sadder it is as you realise that these buildings have been gutted out of the culture and people that created them. In essence, a blend of hyper-finance-centric materialism along with mass immigration has led to a complete breakdown of our social order, and that means that London is increasingly lawless and violent. Worse still, criminals in London know that they won't face any consequences. This is why this man on your screen is brazenly taking what he likes from a Marks & Spencer's food store. The only people in his way are two old men who work for Marks & Spencer's trying to stop him, but you can see he's well over 6 foot and they're not intimidating him at all. Now, if you decided to ring the police and tell them about a shoplifter, they just laugh at you and put the phone down, just like they would if you told them somebody had stolen your bike. They simply don't have the time nor the will to deal with this social disorder. However, they do seem to have plenty of time to arrest people for online speech. According to the Times, the police arrest 9 people per day. They also have plenty of time to kneel for BLM and go to Pride marches. Now, this tells us something quite important about the state of our police, and that's that the police have been subsumed by leftist liberalism. Gone are the days of the stern but fair community Bobby on the beat. In are the bossy finger-waggers, the bureaucratic managers, here to enforce the dictates of social justice ideology. Like most liberals, they seem to believe that the most important thing they have to do is to stamp out what they call, quote, hate. They believe that this will somehow fix society from the inside out. Of course, this is a fantasy. The main role of the police is to maintain and enforce order. Yet because they don't do this, it means there's been a rise in attacks on police. Leader of the Met, Mark Rowley, was complaining about a lack of respect of authority. It doesn't seem to occur to Mr. Rowley that if the police dropped the woke ideology and instead started implementing traditional values such as hierarchy, order and respect, that they wouldn't face these problems. But that's too much of a difficult change for him to make, so he'll just keep arresting people for tweets while shoplifters go free. Yet all of this, the state of London, the state of the modern police, is because we're in a period of civilizational decline. To quote Nietzsche, there is a point in the history of society when it becomes so pathologically soft, it sides even with those who harm it, criminals, and does this quite seriously and honestly. Now, it's a clear sign of a failing civilization when it struggles to implement its own boundaries, worse still, doesn't even really know what its boundaries are for and just sees them as differing forms of oppression. Of course, if you don't have boundaries and strong authority to implement those boundaries, you're going to create a state of dystopia and tyranny. And all of this begs the question, well, what happens next? Personally, I can see what with balkanization on the way as well as social breakdown and lawlessness, communities taking the defense of their properties, their shops into their own hands. After all, what else are they supposed to do if the police won't take action? Just let themselves be robbed and abused? Now, I'm not pro any of this happening, but it is what tends to happen when societies start to decline. And on that note, I also think it's important for us to be in shape and at least know how to defend ourselves physically as society increasingly gets worse. Of course, I'm not saying this so people go out and cause trouble. The exact opposite, in fact. I'm saying it so people can have a sense of calm and confidence if they have to deal with confrontation. More importantly, it's not so much that someone can defend themselves, it's that aggressors and bullies and criminals can see that someone can defend themselves and then they don't cause any trouble. Incidentally, this is why this shoplifter steals with complete impunity. He knows there will be no repercussions to his behaviour. If there was a strong police force who'd take action and a lot of social order, he wouldn't think twice about stealing. But these themes of our spiritual, mental and physical well-being are going to feature more in 2025. I do believe they're very, very important for our individual and collective health in the long run. These are just my thoughts, however. Do let me know what you think down below. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you know.